Why don't we use your expertise and learn a bit about your industry in the context of security? Because during this pandemic, a lot of things have been a lot of people's jobs that perhaps they weren't before. And I'm not saying that now you're a bodyguard, but I'd be interested in hearing, more about how your role has changed, your views on the future of the industry, and that collaboration with security and the family office. That's where I wanted to go with it.
Right. I mean, I think that is, to be honest, it's a brilliant question. And I think that the last 12 months have taught everyone a lot about security, because even if we haven't been at a specific risk or a specific high risk, what it has done is it's allowed us to take stock and look at the risks that we might be running that we really shouldn't be. Also, the speed that technology changes means it's incredibly difficult for anyone who is not a highly skilled tech professional, or to be honest, even if they are, to keep up. I mean, for example, even you and I right now having this discussion via Zoom, that completely changes the things we need to look at between you and I having a discussion sat in an office. It's totally different, good and bad. And when it comes to a private office and the private household of a high net worth individual, there's so much going on, and they're also so individual. I mean, even if we just look at private office, I mean, if we go back even 10 years, it was hardly anyone would even know. If you'd said to private office, most people would say, yeah, what you mean in your house? They wouldn't think of a group of advisors, a group of specialists. And then for a long time, it was only financial. A private office was purely a financial thing. So people could suggest investments, and, the likes of Deloitte and KPMG and people like that would run someone's family office. And there was no, they wouldn't have got into security as far as out with monetary security. They wouldn't have got into the house managers and the butlering. So the amount that's changed in 10 years is extraordinary.
So are you now going on all sorts of courses, kung fu and personal protection, but in all seriousness, how can the butler of today upskill themselves?
Well, interestingly, I've actually been doing kung fu since I was about 17. So I'm actually ahead of the curve on that one. I'm quite a keen martial artist, so I'm ahead of the curve on that one. But that's purely by fluke. And for me, I've also done a few courses in close protection and stuff like that, because I believe, and I'm not professing to be any form of close protection officer. I'm not qualified for that. But what I do believe is that it's very important to have an awareness, to upskill, just as you say. It's everyone really, when they're working in the high net worth realm, is at risk. Because these people, are going to attract attention. They're going to attract people who want what they've got. Because at the end of the day, we're living in a world where there's a big difference between rich and poor. There always has been and there always will be. And there's always going to be people that are targeting the hyper wealthy to steal it or to hurt them or for whatever reason. And if you are, for want of a better word, one of the entourage, you are also going to be a target. It's not just about looking after your principal. It's also about looking after yourself, because you can walk around thinking the only people at risk is your principal, but just by being near them, you really should be raising your understanding of this kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that understanding by osmosis, it helps you interact better with the bodyguards. I mean, bodyguards often remark on the fraught relationship between an executive assistant and the travel booker and them. So anything to improve that relationship, I think everyone will get better. So it's been actually quite interesting because last December we had the Executive Office Risk Management Forum where, as you say, we did bring some people formally of the wealth management side, but, we also had people who'd made a jump from being PA to being in EP. That was rather interesting. And there was one individual who maybe didn't highlight this, but he went from the world of being in EP to being a PA. So I think that cross-pollination is certainly good. It allows you to understand it a bit more, and maybe it's reflective of the wider physical security world. People used to be afraid of technology, but now they realize it's much better to do who you're going to call. Well, because you're not going to do a TSCM sweep yourself. You'll call it in. So maybe that's the future. Butler Plus. What do you think?
Well, I think that. Yeah, I mean, for a start, you have to have a good understanding. Even if we're looking at outsourcing things and, like you say, who you're going to call, the first thing is you've got to make sure you're calling the right people. And if you have no understanding of it, then you could be making it far worse by asking the wrong people to do a job. So, however you run it, you absolutely need to have an understanding. Like I say, I'm not saying that every butler needs to learn to be a bodyguard or a cybersecurity expert, but they have to at least know the roles of those people so they can interact and so they can really respect. Everyone needs to respect the skills that the other people have, because they're a huge skill set. When, and like you say, you get this rubbing together of PAs or butlers or house managers or estate managers and the security, because they're all trying to do their thing. But actually, we're all there for just one reason, and that is to make the life of the principal safe and comfortable. And we need to work together like a machine, like cogs in a machine, to make that run perfectly. If we're running at different speeds, it's never going to work.
Yeah, I can imagine some PA trying to explain, well, I told the butler this, but he's not doing it. The principal doesn't care. It doesn't care. It just wants it to work.
You are spot on.
So what's next for you? I know that you've resumed training, and you're keeping momentum going. What's next for you?
Well, right now, we're talking about evolving with the time. So all my training has now gone online for, practical and safety reasons, which is actually going really well. I was resistant to it all of 2020. I was resistant to making that big step. And, I've realized that I was wrong. It actually does work very well. The online training is valid. So that's very exciting for me. Obviously, I'm also looking forward to getting more physically involved, looking after my clients again. Right now, we're looking after client properties and stuff like that. And my team has, for COVID safety reasons, my team have been stuck in houses for the last 12 months. They haven't been able to leave. We haven't had shift changes and stuff because, we have a bit, but not much. They've just been stuck in different places. So I'm really conscious of getting that all running nicely as we go and things hopefully open up a bit more.
Absolutely. Well, great hope for the future. I've seen socially distanced and PPE full events happen. So I think it's just around the corner. Obviously, there are some countries which will remain closed for longer, but I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic. And it's great that you're doing your online training. Maybe there's now pent up demand for the past year for all those people who wanted to join you, but couldn't.
Yeah, I think there is a bit. And I think that, I'm never going to stop doing the actual training courses. I'm never going to stop doing the real life ones when I can. But what I am going to do is work on these online ones to make them as good as they can possibly be. So there is no downside to doing them, if you see what I mean. That's very important to me. And I'm really enjoying it. It's just doing so well.
Awesome. Well, lovely talking to you. We will catch you very soon, and we hope to have you at another Executive Office Risk Management Forum. But of course, you're much welcome, throughout the year.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be able to talk to you. And I think this kind of information sharing is just helpful for everyone.